Hi, I'm Bruce Goodrow from Benchmark Business Sales and Valuations, and today I wanted to talk about M&A advisors or M&A advisory. Over the many years I've been in business sales, I've noticed that some business brokers or advisors offer themselves as in an M&A transaction to be advisors, but really I'm extremely concerned that some people who are offering their services in that space actually have no experience or qualifications. They're just trying to kind of pitch themselves to get bigger businesses to sell and get bigger commissions. But they're really out of their depth. They really don't know what they're talking about. So it's not a lot, but it is a significant amount of people, and I really don't think it's, I think it's a concern because I've seen in recent times, well over the last 10 years I suppose, but more predominant lately, people in business have been approached by these guys and they've taken them on, paid an upfront fee, paid retainers, and had these people not really get the job done. And it's been really disappointing. They've overpriced the business, out of their depth, don't know how to transact in an M&A transaction where there could be a share sale or there could be an earn out, it could be a retention. Because those sorts of transactions aren't simple, they're not straightforward. Often there needs to be provisions for shares to be paid by the purchaser, or an earn out provision, or security, and that sort of thing. There's a few questions that I think you should, if you're in business, you want to ascertain if the person that's talking to you is capable of transacting in an M&A type transaction. A couple of questions you can ask. I've given you 5 questions that you should ask your M&A advisor. So the first question is, do you charge a retainer or an upfront fee? Because a lot of people are trying to get into the space where they get on to a listing and they really are just looking to get income, repeating revenue, continuing revenue, and with no real plan to get the business sold. You don't want to fall for that. So ascertain what their commission is and whether they're going to get paid on success or whether they're going to get paid up front. Generally speaking, if someone wants to get paid up front, they don't have any confidence in their ability to get it sold. Obviously at Benchmark, we back ourselves and we only get paid when the job's done. So that's the first question, do you pay a retainer or an upfront fee? The second question is, how do you determine the weighted average cost of capital? That in itself is probably there's no relevance to the actual sale of your business, but it'll just enable you to determine if they know what they're talking about. So the weighted average cost of capital is a component used in most commonly in discounted cash flow valuations, and also corporate transactions or listed companies. And if the person you're dealing with is not familiar with that terminology or can't answer that question confidently, then you're probably dealing with somebody who doesn't really know what they're doing, or probably someone who isn't qualified to take on your transaction, and you should be careful. The third question is, how do you assess the method or means by which to sell the business? The approach is the key question here. If they are genuinely good at an M&A type sector transaction, they'll know that we have to ascertain what elements need to be addressed to enable that transaction to occur. And one of the primary things is whether it should be a share sale or an asset sale. Or quite often the other issues could be Division 7A loans, or how we're going to structure an earn out or strengthen the sale value through retention or other means. So they should have an approach to assess how the business should be transacted, the sale should be transacted. And if they don't, or they stumble or stutter, or they're not clear on that, then we need to think about whether these guys are the right people for the job. The fourth question is, how do you set an asking price or price expectations? Now, a competent broker will tell, or advisor, will tell their client a realistic price expectation, and will probably have some ideas on how you can maximise your value. And there's many different ways you can do that. Sometimes it could be as strange or unusual or creative as acquiring another company and adding it into yours, and because the combination of the two revenues and profits could be greater than the sum of the parts. Or they could, but they need to understand the market, and the key point here is that poor performers will just try and give you a price, a pie in the sky price, an airy-fairy price, an overpriced value, or an overpriced expectation just to win the work. And you really need to be careful about that. And the fifth question is, what other transactions have you completed that are like the one that we contemplate doing with my business? If they can't show you evidence of results and their experience in that sector, then you need to be careful, because a lot of people are entering the M&A space at the moment with the fake it till you make it approach. And you don't want to run the risk of paying for their education. You don't want to run the risk of paying fees and going down the path with somebody and 12 to 18 months later there's no result. So they're the 5 questions that you should be asking your prospective M&A advisor. Do you charge a retainer upfront fee? Do you know how to determine the weighted average cost of capital? What's your approach to assessing how a business should be sold? How do you determine the sale price? And what business transactions have you completed? So as I said before, there's unfortunately a small group of people who are trying to get into the M&A sales sector in Australia and who haven't really got a track record, or there's some who are just trying to earn fees from retainers or advisory without actually ever achieving an outcome. So by asking 5 questions and really digging a little deeper, you might be able to decide if this person really is the right person to deal with or not, and whether they've got the background and experience to help you or not. So I've suggested that we should ask these 5 questions of anyone who's talking to you about selling your business or helping you to get the business sold, so then you can find out and figure out whether you feel that these people are competent and experienced and they're going to be able to help you properly professionally.